Thank you for watching QTV with the news. My name is Diana SUMBWE. We take a look at stories making headlines. Zambia records over 3,000 new cervical cancer cases annually, one of the highest incidences in the world. A combined team of law enforcement agencies has raided and searched the home of Road Transport and Safety Agency RATSA Chief Executive Officer Zindaba Soko. And Tourism Minister Charles Banda has justified the eviction of over 600 people of Wengwa's Likenga village, describing them as squatters. And our details in our news. Health Minister Chitalo Chilufya has disclosed that Zambia has one of the highest incidences of cervical cancer in the world, with over 3,000 new cases being recorded annually. In a ministerial statement to Parliament on the human papillomavirus vaccine, which his ministry will be administering to girls aged 14 years, Dr. Chilufya says over 1,800 women die from cervical cancer every year in Zambia. Dr. Chilufya says in light of the significant epidemiological burden of cervical cancer, the 2017 to 2021 National Cancer Control Strategic Plan proposed the introduction of HPV vaccine as one of the central pillars of both prevention and control of cervical cancer in the country. He says government has embarked on the vaccination of 331,000 girls aged 14 years countrywide in an effort to significantly reduce the future burden of cervical cancer in the country. Dr. Chilufya says the 331,000 girls are an addition to the 50,000 that were vaccinated during the pilot project of the vaccination exercise. He has since assured parents that the vaccination, which is in form of injection on the upper part of the arm, is safe. He says his ministry has partnered with key government-line ministries such as the Ministries of Education, Chiefs and Traditional Affairs, Community Development, and the civil society and cooperating partners to successfully undertake the vaccination exercise, which commenced on Monday, 24th June 2019.
Zambia has one of the highest incidences of cervical cancer in the world, and according to the latest World Health Organization Cancer Report, Global Can 2018, about 3,000 new cases of cervical cancer are seen every year in Zambia. Over 1,800 women die from cervical cancer every year. And according to the Zambia National Cancer Registry, cervical cancer accounts for 24.8% of all new cancer cases in the adult population registered annually in the country. In light of the significant epidemiological burden of cervical cancer, the 2017-2021 National Cancer Control Strategic Plan proposed introduction of the HPV vaccine as one of the central pillars for both prevention and control of cervical cancer. Mr. Speaker, the government of Zambia, with consensus of public and private partners, has introduced Gardasil HPV vaccine, a quadrivalent vaccine made by Merck Pharmaceutical Company. Mr. Speaker, in Zambia, we are targeting 14-year-old girls, and we are targeting to vaccinate 331,000 14-year-old girls. We hope to target the girls before they become sexually active.
A combined team of Police, Drug Enforcement Commission and Anti-Corruption Commission officers last night raided Road Transport and Safety Agency RATSA Chief Executive Officer Zindaba Soko's house, where they conducted a search. DEC Commissioner Ali SUMBWE has confirmed the search on Mr. Soko's residence to journalists. Ms. SUMBWE says the Commission wants Mr. Soko to answer to some allegations leveled against him without divulging details of the allegations. She says once the investigations have been concluded, the nation will be informed on what exactly the investigative wings are investigating the RATSA boss for.
Mr. Zindaba Soko, just like any other member of the public, he's being given a chance to explain himself in terms of the allegations that have been leveled against him.
So we have drug-related complaints?
It's not a drug-related complaint. You will be informed in due course when we have done our investigations what exactly we are investigating Mr. Soko on. Right now, for those of you who have information that Mr. Soko's house was raided yesterday, it's a normal thing during the course of our investigations. We will go and search anyone's home if we feel that the evidence that we require is going to be found in that place. Remember, Drug Enforcement Commission does not only deal with drugs. We also deal with money laundering issues.
Tourism and Arts Minister Charles Banda has justified the eviction of over 600 people of Wenga's Likenga village on 14 June 2019, describing them as squatters who engaged in high levels of poaching and illegal fishing. Dr. Banda says the people who came from all across the country to squat and engage in illegal fishing activities and poaching in the area situated near the Lochinva National Park were given warnings and notices in October 2018 to relocate, but that they decided to ignore the notice. He says law enforcement agencies were left with no choice but to move in and evict them. The process, he insists, was done peacefully as no physical harm was done to any person, no life was lost and property destroyed. Dr. Banda says no plans have been put in place to compensate the affected people as they were mere squatters. He, however, states that the DMMU has provided tents and food for the people as they find places to go. The minister was responding to a question by Bwenga Member of Parliament Kasau Tumichelo on why government forcefully evicted the over 600 people, what value of property was destroyed in the process, and what measures government has put in place to assist the evicted people who are now stranded.
Government has a duty to protect both the people and wildlife. Hence, the removal of the about 600 people in Wenga parliamentary constituency is in line with the law. Regarding the process of eviction, I would like to state and assure the House that sufficient notice was given to both campsites to vacate the premises as far back as October 2018, hence resulting in a peaceful operation contrary to the reports on this matter. Mr. Speaker, I would like to say that, therefore, targeting of the two camps for eviction was done for the following reasons. One, the two camps did not conform to the general management plan of the game management area. Reason number two, the high levels of poaching and illegal fishing activities around the camp. Reason number three, the squatters were located on the edge of the park boundary within the wet season dispersal area, a breeding site and wildlife corridor, critical to the survival of the endemic Kafiwe lechwe and numerous waterfowl species of international conservation concern.
The minister's response was, however, not received well by members of parliament, mostly from the opposition UPND, who insisted the move was unfair, further describing the eviction as barbaric.
Mr. Speaker, with your permission, we are aware, Mr. Speaker, Wenga is my neighboring constituency, and I did visit the area he's talking about. Mr. Speaker, churches were burnt, houses were burnt, livestock were destroyed, some of the livestock were transported by his officials in their vehicles, and they were taken away. Mr. Speaker, if the minister hasn't got the correct information, would he be in a position to come back and give a correct version of what transpired in that area?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What I will read is Royal Highness Chief Counsel has confirmed that these people lost property during this exercise. When I was out, the member of Parliament for this conference has also confirmed. On that mean, I just confirmed that you and just found that property has been lost. But you are saying that there is no property that was lost. Can you tell this House what report are you going to believe? Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I would like the Honourable Member of Parliament to believe my report.
I'm the Member of Parliament for Wenga constituency, and I do a bingo with my people on a weekly basis. And on that particular day, when that group eviction happened, I went there myself, and people reported to me that we have lost the money, NRCs, water cards, living churches, and other households were.
President Edgar Lungu has called on the Patriotic Front Copperbelt provincial leadership to embrace everyone that wants to work with the party. Speaking on arrival at Simon Mwansa Kapwepwe International Airport in Ndola, President Lungu says leadership is about being inclusive, noting that everyone is useful at one time or the other. President Lungu says he has received reports that the Patriotic Front leadership in the province has been ignoring some members who challenged them during regional party elections.
We want to build the party towards 2021. We cannot afford leaving anyone behind. It's important that we bring all the people, including those who say negative things about us. When you become a leader, you're supposed to lead everyone. You're supposed to have a big heart. And I'm glad that you acknowledge that you're a small body but a big heart. And I think that is what I am. I'm a small body but a big heart. I did not think so. I was about to accommodate the party where we are. Now, when I when we are like a combi, opposition, who are going to have a way? Tell me,
President Lungu is on the Copperbelt to officially open the Copperbelt Investment Expo at Levi Mwanawasa Stadium in Ndola. Opposition Alliance for Democracy and Development ADD President Charles Milupi has questioned the motive behind the decision by the Chinese government to write off more than 22 million United States dollars, part of the debt Zambia owes the Asian country. Mr. Milupi has described the move as suspicious. He states that the move raises a lot of questions about the Chinese government, what the Chinese government is up to. Mr. Milupi, however, notes that the partial debt write-off will not have any tangible impact on the country's economy in view of the country's current state of external debt, apart from writing off part of the debt that Zambia owes. The Chinese government has given Zambia a grant amounting to 30 million United States dollars towards support to various projects of development and accelerate industrialization.
So I'm suspicious. 22 million is too little, and why are they doing it? They know that it will have no impact at all on our debt status. It will have no impact whatsoever. It is too little. So why are they doing it? The government must act. Instead of now rising to announce it as if it is the debt forgiveness we had in the year 2005, when 7 billion of our debt was forgiven, to come and we have been warning the Chinese that even as they lend us money, they must understand that we do not, this government does not put in capacity to pay that money back. So when we fail to pay, what are they going to do? If forgiveness is the way, why haven't they forgiven a lot more? Maybe even forgive everything that we owe them. You owe me 1,000. They tell you, out of this 1,000 you owe me 10 in where I forgive. How are you going to feel about that?
Republican Vice President Inonge Wina has directed Home Affairs Minister Stephen Kampiongo to make the function and existence of the National Archives of Zambia known to citizens. Ms. Wina says that this will help the public know and understand the history of the country. Speaking during the official opening of the Vice President's exhibition at the National Archives in Lusaka, Ms. Wina said she is humbled to be associated with the works of former Vice Presidents and other public leaders who served with honor and distinction in their time. Ms. Wina says the exhibition represents what the Office of the Vice President is and what it does in order to contribute to the socio-economic development of Zambia.
My own appreciation of this exhibition reflects a very personal connection to the freedom struggle and the selflessness of the people of Zambia in the past, captured in our national values and principles as outlined in our Republican Constitution. And as I conclude, Let me state once more that I'm truly humbled to be associated with the works of former vice presidents and other public leaders who served with honor and distinction in their time. To all the former vice presidents, alive and the departed, we say thank you. We thank you for displaying leadership that has brought us this far as a united Zambia. With your remarkable service
and Home Affairs Minister Stephen Kampyongo says his office will take up the challenge of ensuring that the importance of the nation, of the national values, ensuring the importance of National Archives Department is known to the nation.
That we will take up the challenge. This department needs to be known by our people, its portfolio functions, and how important it is to the nation. And so we'll be sitting with my permanent secretaries and the department head to see how much we can scale up sensitization of what the department is doing. And our colleagues from the media who are here, we still continue challenging you to join us in our quest to let people know how important this institution is.
And National Archives Director Chileshe Musokuma has challenged the media and citizens to find time to visit the department for them to get acquainted with the history of the nation. And former Vice President Dr. Nervous Mumba, who spoke on behalf of former Vice Presidents, applauded Ms. Winner for her unique work.
That we will take up the challenge. This department needs to be known by our people, its portfolio functions, and how important it is to the nation. And so we'll be sitting with my permanent secretaries and the department head to see how much we can scale up sensitization of what the department is doing. And our colleagues from the media who are here, we still continue challenging you to join us in our quest to let people know how important this institution is.
Home Affairs Minister Stephen Kampyongo has implored parents and guardians to take a proactive step in ensuring that their children are kept away from drug abuse. Speaking during the commemoration of the International Day Against Illicit Drug Abuse and Trafficking held in Lusaka, Mr. Kampyongo has observed that the inadequate time that some parents spare for their children is among the contributing factors leading to their involvement in drug-related activities. Mr. Kampyongo has further urged the children to ensure their call for attention for their parents regarding challenges they face. More in this report.
Alcohol abuse everywhere. We have been seeing this over and over again in churches, schools, politics, media, communities. You decide to keep quiet. You are just dead or alive. Straight to my face.
Millions of children around the world are trapped in child illicit drug abuse, depriving them of their childhood and their health. The continuing persistence of drug abuse by children poses a threat to national economies and has severe negative short and long-term consequences. It is important for adults to clearly explain to their children what drugs are, their functions, and which drugs are harmful or illegal. Speaking during the International Day Against Illicit Drug Abuse and Trafficking under the theme Health for Justice, Justice for Health, Home Affairs Minister Stephen Kampyongo has implored parents and guardians to take a proactive step in ensuring that their children are kept away from involvement in drug abuse.
My message to you, lastly, and I want to emphasize this, is that don't allow us not to listen to you by using excuses such as being tired. And apart from the parents, you can also find responsible guardians. Those of you who might not have parents, you can find responsible guardians and responsible adults that you can reach out to share your problems. Drugs will affect your health as well. So instead of you growing a healthy person, you end up growing an impaired person.
Drug Enforcement Commission has revealed that the commission received over 395 children between the ages of 7 and 17 for counseling regarding matters of drug abuse.
We have a total of 395 children aged between 7 and 17 who went through our institutions for counseling. So for us, that is not a very good number, and we hope that we can call upon all different stakeholders, parents, teachers, anyone, all well-meaning Zambians to join us in this fight. This is not a fight that we can undertake on our own.
Indeed, if nothing is done to curb this vice, our children will eventually be exposed to drugs, prescription medication, alcohol and tobacco, and sometimes hard drugs too. For QTV News, I'm Favorite Kando in Lusaka.
Zambia's High Commissioner to India, Judith Kabijimpanga, has invited solar energy companies in India to consider investing in Zambia in view of the power deficit the country is facing. Mrs. Kabijimpanga says Zambia has made energy tariffs cost reflective to attract private sector investment in order to stabilize energy supply. According to a statement released by First Secretary for Press and Tourism at the Zambian Mission in India, Bangwe Navile, Mrs. Kabijimpanga says Zambia has potential to generate 6,000 megawatts of electricity, but is currently producing 2,000 megawatts, thereby creating opportunities for investment in the 4,000 megawatts deficit. She said this when she toured Goldie Solar Company in Surat City in the Indian state of Gujarati. Here's a report.
Zambia's High Commissioner to India, Judith Kabijimpanga, is inviting various solar companies in India to consider investing in Zambia where there is power deficit because India now has surplus solar energy. Zambia has made energy tariffs cost reflective to attract private sector investment in order to stabilize energy supply. Mrs. Kabijimpanga toured Goldie Solar Company in Surat City in the Indian state of Gujarat, 2,000 kilometers away from the Indian capital, New Delhi, where she met Goldie Company Director Bharat Bhuti.
I met many delegates from your continent, but the information which you have provided, what I feel is a different approach.
I would urge you to consider investing in Zambia. That is the best place to go.
Goldie Solar Company is interested in setting up a power plant if government can sign a power purchase agreement, PPA, for a long time, such as 25 years. The company feels a 50 megawatts plant would be ideal as a trial using private capital. Bangwe Navile, Gujarat, India.
The opposition Patriots for Economic Progress (PEP) has expressed concern with the increasing levels of tax avoidance and tax evasion at border posts in the country. Recently, Zambia Revenue Authority (ZRA) unearthed another scam where over 8,000 heavy-duty vehicles have been deviously imported into Zambia, costing the government 480 million kwacha in taxes. PEP President Sean Tembo has observed that the current customs duty charges on imports, especially motor vehicles, is too high and unaffordable to the majority of citizens, the reason why most importers resort to smuggling. Mr. Tembo has since appealed to the Zambia Revenue Authority to consider reducing the customs duty, especially on motor vehicles, in order to curb smuggling. He explains that in most instances, the total importation tax is 2 times the price at which the vehicle might have been bought, which he says does not make sense and is the main driver of the smuggling schemes and cartels between importers, clearing agents, and ZRA customs officers. Mr. Tembo says no matter how intensified ZRA anti-smuggling operations might be, they will not manage to reduce smuggling for as long as import taxes at the borders are too high, stressing that importers would rather take the risk of smuggling than pay the high import taxes at the borders.
Our take on this matter is that the reason why these smuggling levels are going up every day is because of the very, very high import taxes at the borders. Most people don't find it affordable to basically pay these import taxes, and that is why they resort to smuggling. And our appeal to ZRA in particular, and perhaps the government in general, is that they should consider to reduce these high import taxes at the border so that people can find it affordable to pay these taxes, and that will reduce the appetite to smuggle because there won't be any need to take such an unnecessary risk. If these import taxes are not reduced, then smuggling will continue to go up every day.
The construction of a modern presidential pavilion in the Lusaka showgrounds at a cost of 35 million kwacha has been completed, and the contractor will soon hand over the building to the Show Society. Agriculture and Commercial Show Society of Zambia President Caroline Silwamba has told Q News that the contractor is simply doing final touches to the structure. Mrs. Silwamba says the structure will be ready for use in time for the show. The 93rd Agriculture and Commercial Society of Zambia, ACSZ, will be held from 31st July to 5th August 2019 under the theme Embracing Industrial Development, aimed at enhancing the industrial existence in the world of technology.
Benefits are that we are going to make our president and all the dignitaries more comfortable than before. The other indirect benefit is what I talked about earlier on. It's a masterpiece to the whole country. It lifts the image of the country. There will be the pavilion for official opening. The dignitaries will sit there. There will be 2 dining areas. There will be a holding room for the president, the offices for our management, and the president, the vice president, and our boardroom will be in that facility. We are doing the final touches. It's finished right now, only the final touches now, here and there. Within 2 weeks, everything will be complete.
To end the news, we recap on stories making headlines. Zambia records over 3,000 new cervical cancer cases annually, one of the highest incidences in the world. A combined team of law enforcement agencies has raided and searched the home of Road Transport and Safety Agency RATSA Chief Executive Officer Zindaba Soko. And Tourism Minister Charles Banda has justified the eviction of over 600 people of Wengwa's Likenga village, describing them as squatters. On that note, we come to the end of the news. Thank you for watching.